Thanks, Patrick. Thank you for including your writing here. Everything is described quite nicely. Thank you very much. As there's enough here for me to decipher your approach, and I want to speak on the approach before we speak on the sketches. Um, so I think that especially something like Wizard of Oz as a choice, it kind of corrals students into this mindset of depicting the characters. Now, I want to share with you a little. I want to jump into week 5, and I want to share something with you that we kind of pull a little surprise on you in week 5. Let me just show you what it is right here. Week 5, Project 2, Reinventing a Classic, Part 2. Let's go and take a look. So as you're gathering your images for this project, please stay away from images that were used in the movies, okay? So you can't use images from the Wizard of Oz movie for the book cover, all right? And that makes sense when you think about it. It really does, because if you're hired to design a book, it would be reasonable to assume that the designer is not just going to depict the characters, but kind of depict the moral of the story, so to speak, as you interpret it, without using the characters. So forget the characters from the movie. That forces you into more of a conceptual approach for this piece, and forces you to use other images to depict that moral or that concept without falling into the trap of just depicting the characters from the movie. Theoretically, there should be no connection between The Wizard of Oz, the book, The Wizard of Oz, the movie. Do you see what I'm saying? That's really, really important. So let's go ahead and take a look at your sketches and see what we can talk about here. So again, in the sketches, we're very much depicting characters from the movie. Okay, now, and it is a composite of characters from the movie. So we've got the Good Witch, we've got the Yellow Brick Road, we've got the main characters, and we've got portions of the antagonist, or at least the soldiers of the antagonist, right? So you have protagonist, antagonist, and other characters depicted, right? So is that conceptually sound? Is that a conceptual approach? Unfortunately, it's not. You're just depicting the characters. What I want you to do is, as we move forward, is I want you to think about The Wizard of Oz. Sit back, think about it, and think about the novel. What is the novel trying? What is the story? What is the moral of the story, so to speak, right? And I think, to me, the moral of the story in The Wizard of Oz is finding your own inner strength, right? So how can we depict that in using images and depicting that concept as opposed to depicting merely the characters? As you can see, this forces you into a much, much deeper conceptual development, right? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because as graphic designers, if you're hired to design a book cover, I think it's just, I think there's much, much more engaging approaches than just depicting the characters of that story on the cover. Okay, am I making sense, Patrick? It's really an important concept, and I think one that will loan itself quite well to the success of this project. So I'm going to ask, you don't have to resubmit sketches or anything, I just want you to reconsider your conceptual approach of how you can depict the concept of the story, the moral of the story, without depicting the characters in the story. Okay, make sense? All right, let me know if you have any questions, or if I can clarify this, I will, but it's a really super important concept. I think, in my experience here in these first few critiques, I think that the students that have chose Wizard of Oz have really fallen into this trap, this kind of trap of depicting only elements from the story as opposed to depicting a concept behind the story. And I think the reason is because we all are we know and identify to Wizard of Oz, the movie, more so than the novel, right? And I think that's important to kind of get out of that mindset, forget the movie, and take this over yourself as a designer. And how do you depict the concept? How do you depict the moral of the story without using characters from the story? Okay, make sense? All right, great job. Again, any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks, Patrick.